there's a lot less room to play there, but that's the brakes fitted. Lid up.
Is that chocolate? I thought you were opening a car part or something important.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are back over with Stephen. Where is he? He's coming into focus there. There he is.
Hello again.
We are doing big brake kits. Like, you know, looking at the difference here. This is what's going on to the car. That's what's came off the car. In the last video when we were here, he was explaining it when you were meeting the driver in the car. He explained what they were. So, recap, these are actually off a Honda Civic FK8. Yep, and these are the
Z32 300 ZX Targa. So they were an upgrade for S13s back in the 90s. So as you can imagine, the original brakes that would have been on S13s weren't up to much. So this was the go-to upgrade for, like, say, the first 10, 15, maybe even 20 years of the cars being in existence. A lot of guys go to 350Z stuff, but again, you're limited with size with that kind of stuff. So I think we'd already kind of touched on that, but we managed to figure out a way of making FK8 calipers from the Type R, work on this just with some adaptation brackets, which we've got one sitting there just to. So we've already got them made up, machined, threaded, and we'll just need to set distances with some stuff like repair washers and that to get the exact fitting correct. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll do we're going to do this side. We've ordered a little mock-up on the other side as well, just to make sure everything fits. But yeah, let's get them on and let's actually get out and test them.
race car mods. And here's the discs. These are big, heavy discs.
Well, that is.
Here's the difference.
So the best of this was already technically an upgrade, and this is something that Track Ready already provided us with. So
yes,
I believe those were the turbo. Was it the turbo discs?
The GD.
Either way, the EBC turbo discs, and we ran the yellow stuff pads in them. Now, the brakes for what we've been using the car for have been totally fine, but ever since we done a little trip to the Nürburgring a couple of months ago, I have been wanting to do some track days in this. So the goal is, right, what date are we actually right now? What date is this? 24th maybe?
20 something of November.
End of November. The goal is, before the bad weather officially comes and winter's officially here, is I'd like to go out and get Knockhill Day in. So we're going to go ahead and do this upgrade on this now. Take the car up to Knockhill potentially on the 8th of December and basically see if the car can do actually a bit of track driving. If it does, then we would like to do some more stuff, potentially another ring trip next year, depending on how busy the calendar ends up, which right now could be very, very busy. But more on that later.
Yes. Right, well, let's get at it. So here's the brakes in at the moment. Big clearance, you know, plenty of room to play. You can always have a bit of activities in there.
So it wasn't as bad initially. Well, they never actually looked as small, because we used to run GR11 Japan racing wheels. So we actually used to run a staggered setup with a 17 at the front and an 18 in the rear. But we managed to get a sponsorship through Strong Wheels, and it's 18s that we've all round now. Caused a few problems because we had to actually step down the front tyre size just for clearance issues. Because that is quite a big problem in the S13s. So as soon as you try to put an 18 with a kind of big tyre, you run into clearance issues. She works, but the only thing it did highlight was how small the calipers are with an 18. But as I said, the car's been fine for what we've been using, or the brakes have been fine for what we've been using it for. It was only when we went up to Crail, maybe just before we went to the Nürburgring, I think.
It's a couple of months ago now.
And me and Jamie Lundy were up, and because we'd only had brought like 8 tyres or something like that, so what we said is, like, instead of basically just going out and rinsing 8 tyres and then it's our day over, Mum will go and do a bit of track driving. So instead of going out the drift sessions, we were going out on the grip sessions, which I remember loads of guys been raging about. It's like, no, you're in the wrong session. And then absolutely smoking them on the way past. The guys no realised the thing's the best part, 800 horsepower, and the same with Jamie's even more. So it was a good laugh, but the brakes just weren't up to it. After you're going up to 140 at Crail and you've got like 2 or 3 times where you're actually having to brake down to kind of 50-60 mile an hour. So 2 laps and that was us kind of boiled the brakes. Pads went off and we were boiling the fluid, so it just highlighted that the car isn't capable of that style of driving, which is totally fine because that's not what the car's been built for. But with some minor changes, i.e. the brakes, we can make it work. We'll stiffen it up. Ideally it could use, so it's not running a front anti-roll bar now, it could use a front one and a stiffer rear one for a bit of track driving, but we'll fit the brakes, and before we go up we'll change the alignment slightly because it's set up far too aggressive right now. It's set up for competition, which is not fun to drive. When's the last time I was in the car? It probably was actually drifting Crail, but it wasn't. I remember speaking to Dean at Peregrine, the car wasn't fun to drift. I was like, basically just because of how much it wants to straighten up, because of how much rear toe you're running. So if you're no totally on top of the power, the car will want to straighten, and even with the power that the car's got, unless you're totally on top of keeping the revs up, the car will always want to straighten up in you. So obviously if we were to do track driving, that's not going to be as much of an issue because you're not going sideways, but what it will make it is that if the car does decide to step out, controlling it will be harder. So what we'll do is we'll just dial some toe out on the rear, probably reduce the positive camber, and I might take out some camber on the front as well. Only issue down the line is, I'm just going to everything on my head now. Only issue down the line is if we take out, because we're running 7.5 degrees of front camber now, which is a lot. But if we decide to try and take that out, so ideally for track driving I'd like about 1 to 2 degrees for this car, but the problem in doing so is I'm going to end up stepping the tyre right out to about here. So it's going to be sticking out too much and it'll obliterate my arches, so I think they're 55 mils and ideally we could go to maybe like a 75 mil fender. So kind of a few upgrades to make it kind of the complete package, but some folk might go like, why are you going to the effort to make it do both? But
why not?
Why not? Because
exactly.
then you can, 1 month you could literally go like that and we'll go and do a competition drift day. The next you can take it to Knockhill for a laugh and you have to change very minimal stuff. And we would always put it on alignment ramps because we've got access with Edmiston Garage and Peregrine. Peregrine's just up the road for making quick alignments, and we get used to the ramps thanks to the guys there. But you could do it, you could make things really simple for yourself and actually just mark the setup. So, albeit you'll never get it completely perfect, but you can mark the setup with just actually a bit of pen or something like that. It means you could twist the arms going like that. That's basically track setup, twist it back to drift setup, and you could just do it yourself at the garage. But
yeah.
So they've been fine, but they need to go.
Yes.
So.
There we go. Look at that. There's a lot less room to play there, but that's the brakes fitted. Bled up quite nice and easy. But yeah, that's them all fitted there, so quite fun, quite enjoyable. So if you ever want to do them to your own Silvia, or anything really, I suppose, you know, especially Silvia, just let us know. And
well, this is the only known modern upgrade that you can get for these cars, so as I said, 350Z stuff's the only kind of stuff a lot of guys will run, but you're running a 320mm disc, which is alright, decent, but this is a 350mm disc we're now running, and this will have tremendous stock power for the weight of the car.
oh yes.
We left the rear setup's still the same, so that's going to be the Z32 upgrade in the rear, which runs a 297, so a 300mm disc in the rear and a 350 in the front, so that should be plenty for the track.
Yes. Excellent. There you go. That's the brakes done. They are. I like them. I do like them, I have to say. They look pretty awesome in the car. So again, that's a sponsor from ourselves at Track Ready for Stephen. Hopefully we can see him in the track, but there's the man.
We shall put them to good use. Yeah, no problems fitting them. Only issues we encountered were the wise fab. They were a weld, and the wise fab we had to grind down, and also the discs. If anybody's actually looking for this actual setup, it's a bit of a mix match to get it to work. So Alistair's managed to find the corresponding discs for the hat height of this setup. So we're using, as we've said, the FK caliper, but it's an odd disc. It's a Mercedes ML63 disc that we're having to use to match the height of an S chassis hub with the Civic caliper, but it all works. But if there's any kind of questions on that, hit us up, and even the likes of the brackets and stuff like that, most likely we can actually, if someone needed a kit, would probably actually just remove this kit as well and get a copy made of that. So it's looks promising, so we'll find out in Knockkill how it goes. So
yep. Happy. Yep. So yeah, I'll try and get to Knockkill there at the time, just so we can see a personal hand at how it goes. And as Stephen says, if we need a kit, if people want kits, just give us a message, or Stephen on his page, and we can sort you out a kit. But it's very cold, it's getting late again, and I need to head home now. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.